Okay, so this is the Shepherds. Now, I think this is episode 6. Usual guests, apart from someone that was on last time. Whatever. Richard.
Whatever.
Yeah. It's not really important.
Yeah, just a bloke.
What's your name?
Tim.
My name's Simon.
He will show his face at some point. We're going to get that to later. Before I carry on,
Cutting him off. That'd be brilliant.
Can you please subscribe, because we want a few subscriptions. Sorry, but we do.
Share, comment, like.
Not just share, subscribe. All right, and the other thing is
and like, and hit that
Press
like
it
button.
now.
Hit the like button.
Now.
Yeah,
Let's just pause while you do it.
hit the like button. Okay, now also, if you've got any questions, put them in the comments below, and we will maybe have that as our topic. Any question, whatever, we're interested in talking about it.
Inspire us.
Yeah, we want to be inspired, and we want to talk about shit we ain't thought about, because we just want to talk about anything that makes people interested and that we are interested in ourselves. All right, now the question today is, if you could go back to any age, what would it be? Now, by that I don't mean medieval or some shit. I mean, would you want to go back to 15 or whatever? So, but on this, Phil is going to start on this one.
Yeah, so it was actually a suggestion by a child that said this to me, and I like you know, they're quite innocent and naked, like, and it's just, I thought it was just quite sort of interesting. I started sort of thinking about what age would I want to be, so I started thinking, you know, when you're 18 and you can first like buy alcohol and go out sort of clubbing, and then I started sort of thinking about it more, and you know, I think the best time of my life was when I was about 14. And you had no responsibility. You just started smoking and like learning, like getting a bit like drinking.
Smoking.
I started smoking. You know, you started like getting into girls. Like there's, you know, the first time you finger blast a girl or something like that. Like, they're like imagine just saying it. Like, and then you know, you're just experiencing so many sort of things, and you ever as like for the first time, and that's my sort of take on it. Yeah, I don't know if that's it really.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I'm going to jump in here for a second on this, because I think we need to clarify the question. For me, I need to clarify the question. I know you came at the question, so I'm going to ask you to clarify it for me. So just bear with me to understand what I mean. I was thinking about this at work, and initially I thought it weren't a very good question. However, I think it's a bit more interesting, because
it was a child's suggestion.
When you say go back to age, I was thinking in my head, what age would I like to go to, or whatever. But the important part of the question was for me, if I go back to that age, do I have the same speech, wording and knowledge that I have now? And why that's important, because I actually thought that if I could go back, I'd probably pick being in the womb. And now the reason I would pick...
No way.
The reason...
Sorry, no, that's
hang on.
we weren't expecting that at all.
Hold on.
Memories,
The
actually,
reason
yeah,
I would pick going back into the room is because, well, mathematically that would give me the longest period of time to run again. But I actually thought that if I went back to that period of time and I was the same person I am now, it actually scared me. Because I thought...
No, but let me interrupt you a second. I'm not saying go back to a certain age to correct your wrongs and like just live your life out again. I'm sort of saying
Sam Beckett.
back to like Sam Beckett.
Sam Beckett.
I'm talking like you go back to a certain age and that's the age you stay. You know what I mean? It's like you like if you could go back to any age and that's what age you could be, because. Yeah, you like because that was.
Well,
stupid.
no, well, the reason I was saying.
Like, that's it. Because it's stupid, isn't it? Because as soon as you get to that age, you start living again. You get past it. And then you'll be like, oh, I wish I could do that again. Which is the very point I'm saying. So.
The reason I was saying that is because I was
staying
worried.
in the womb is like fucking an interesting one. For
well,
me.
yeah, but if I went, it weren't the
awareness.
Yeah, it weren't.
Yeah. Baby, going, oh my god, think of the stuff I know.
What I was more worried about is. What I was more worried about is when I'd come out. I weren't worried so much about myself really. I was more worried about my mum, because I was thinking if I come out my mum's womb and I'm talking to my mum and I'm talking as a 40-year-old adult, I'm worried that she's not aware of this scenario of me choosing to go back to that age. So she's expecting a normal defenceless baby, but I come out. And I'm saying, oh, Mum, how's it going? Yeah, I'm fucking buzzing to be back. But also, I don't want to see my mum's vagina. So
Wow.
That's what I'm clarifying.
I'm
here.
so
Are
glad
we-
that this is where you've gone with this.
Yeah.
I never
yeah.
thought it would go anywhere near
Well, no,
here,
neither.
but it did.
I mean, I thought I was going out there when I went with the old finger blast.
Well,
my
just to
God.
clarify then, so if we choose, for everyone else's questions, to clarify, am I going back to a time with my current frame of mind, or am I going back blank
Right, you can no,
to
you
that
can,
time, thinking how I thought at that time?
no, you can have your current mind, but you have to go back to that time. That's where you
interesting.
stay.
That's
Oh,
interesting.
sorry, you have your current mind, but go back.
Yeah, you
Yes.
can have your current mind. You can have your current
Everything
mind.
you know now,
But you're
back
always going to
then.
be. It's like Big. Everyone's seen the film
Yeah, no, I
Big.
get it,
And
I
the
get
Whistler
it.
Zoltan
I
and
mean,
all that.
this is important criteria. I get what you're
Very-
asking the
yeah,
question.
that's- I wanted to clarify
I
that.
think the examples you gave were fucking batshit crazy, right?
Logical though.
Maybe.
Okay, let me just cover. You'd go back to being in the womb. That's your.
That was
choice.
my
That's your
initial
choice.
thought.
Yeah, yeah. So,
What is your not initial thought then?
I only thought initially.
Oh,
all right.
And
So,
then,
let's
and then I
let
got
that-
freaked out and I didn't know what to think, and I wanted to clarify it with Phil what the question
Okay,
was.
well, while you have a little thing, let Tim have his little sort of thing, have a little chat, what he thinks, then maybe you can come up with a different age, perhaps.
What about where I would go back to?
Yeah,
in
yeah.
with my current mind.
With your current mind. That's the way we go. With your current mind.
I mean, it's a tough one because obviously, you know, I'm a dad now, right? And you know, like this time's great now that I've got kids. You know,
Is that just because you can do all the things that you did when you was a kid, though? Do you know what I mean? Like, you play with all the toys again and that, like, you're like, yeah, boys in.
I would go
Like-
as far as say I do far less than I ever did when I was a kid because I have kids.
Okay, yeah, alright.
Like, you know, like go out and have fun, for instance. But yeah. So yeah, obviously, you know, but it is a golden time. However, other times I think fuck them. Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I think I get where you're coming from. You're saying like 14 and stuff like you're doing like things for the first time.
Yeah, you know, like the film, like Stand By Me, like you know, like that feeling that you you know, the feeling that you
Okay,
get
that's
from
right.
it, when it's like you're hanging around with your friends.
I
you
don't know
just
if
sort
I
of-
was low enough. But- Sorry, carry on. No,
God, what
sorry.
were you two?
Having a
No.
moment.
You're
I
sorry.
was listening to what you were saying.
I know, it
Sorry.
sounds like you
Go
was
on.
like having like giving yourself like crazy eyes.
Was
I've lost my place of thought now.
No, I wanted to hear that.
Stand by
Come on.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, that sort of film, when every time I watch
Coming of
that,
age.
yeah, it's like a coming of age, and it just reminds
Yeah,
me of like hanging around with you when I was like 14,
Yeah.
doing like fires and that, like just,
Yeah.
you know, just times was just like, there was no issues, there was no dramas, you never had to work, or, you know, everything was always exciting, you know, everything was all just
Yeah.
first experiences, and so, yeah, that's where I am, so.
Getting a leg out, I mean, that was generally the thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
You know,
what?
it's getting a leg out, you know, getting chased for something.
Yeah, getting chased by the old bin or something like that, like, the old knock door run days, and...
Yeah, exactly. Or do you remember the Grand National Hedgehog?
I was talking about this to it's my ex now, but yeah, we're at like the Grand National.
Yeah.
Like we do the head chopping. Oh, I used to love doing that. Like it was one of the best sort of
hang on.
things ever.
What's that? Head chopping.
Yeah, so the hedge chopping. So you get like a row of houses, and they've all got hedges on each one,
Oh.
and you just call it the Grand National. So you literally just run and jump over every single one. Like it's.
I thought
Yeah.
you said head chopping.
Well, hedge chopping was like a thing anyway. You'd like just, I don't know, randomly jump over somebody's hedge. You know, you probably lose points for in a social credit system. But, you know, anyway, the Grand National was that there was a big road in near where we lived.
Yeah.
And
Harport Road, I do believe.
Harport Road, yeah, in Greenland. If you're ever up there, you know, you fancy jumping over some gardens.
Some
I don't
fantastic high
recommend it.
hedges.
Yeah, but you could pretty much run the entire length of the road, and
And if you win, you get points. Good for your credits rating.
yeah. I mean, there were probably, you know, at any one time there could be up to like, you know, dozen kids
Yes, like, it's like,
jumping over hedges. Yeah, that's the fucking golden time, isn't it? And like you say, you know, you're drinking for the first time, smoking, all that sort of stuff. But also around about 19, 20, you know, going to like festivals and things like that for the first time, and you know, you could probably kind of go away, get in a car, go and do, you know, just expand that whole thing a lot more.
there's still there's like at 14 there's like you're still limited, aren't you? There's still limitations that you can't do, like there's like hurdles that you can't overcome, but in some ways I think that's good. Do you know what I mean? Because the fact that like it's all still
You can
innocent,
make fun
isn't
in
it?
your own little world, like.
But that's where it comes shit if you go back with the mind that you got now, because you know about all the things that you could do and put you in a 40-year-old body.
I just wouldn't do it, you know. I'd just buy like property. Well, this is going to grow. I'm literally going to sit here and make loads of money.
Yeah, but it's kind of like wanting to go
Buy
on a
shares in
roller coaster,
Apple.
but not being tall enough.
If I
Do you know what I mean?
Bitcoin on the first day. You know. But no, but it's somewhere between probably, yeah, like either around 14, 15 or 20. And I think I need to have a little bit of a think about it.
Okay,
Okay, so go on then, so. Yeah, you can go back to any age. I'm genie in the bottle or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll give you that choice.
16 or
Whatever
whatever.
age, with the knowledge you've got now. So you're basically going to be the same person you are now. You're going to be a 40-year-old in whatever body of whatever age. What age is it?
Okay, the first thing I want to say before I answer that question directly is because I thought what you meant by age was an era of time. So like, oh, would you like to go back to the 60s or something like that?
Oh, right.
That's
that'd
what
be
I
fine.
thought. That's what I thought.
Should we do that bit after we've discussed it?
Yeah, go
We
for
just
it.
carry on
Okay,
straight
yeah,
into that.
let's
But
do
no,
that.
it's
for
up to
now,
you.
so, yeah, go on.
Right, okay. Yeah, but on the criteria that you just gave, I don't even want to go back to 30. I quite like who I am at the moment, and like, say if I wanted to go back to 25, I couldn't do fuck all when I was 14. I was shit. At like I do martial arts, right? I used to do martial arts. I did martial arts for 10 years. I used to compete all over the country.
Which one did you do?
Kickboxing, fine. And oh God, the last time I competed was probably about 22, something like that. Now, I think at 40, I could take myself if I had to fight myself at 22, I could take myself at 22 easily, I reckon. So I wouldn't want to go back to 22. I'd want to be, I don't know. I'd probably want to be like 30, because I'm still. I've got a filled out. I'm strong. I can defend myself on the street. But at 22, I'm still a bit young, too young. I've got tin ribs, stuff like that. You said 14. That's crazy. I mean, that means you can't sleep with anybody realistically over 30, can you?
I don't know.
Oh, that's up to you. Or maybe, I
Then
don't know.
14-year-olds would get
You
it.
must be a
There were
very
things going
fucking
on.
advanced 14-year-old. I'm saying at 30. No, I'm saying at 30 is the sweet spot. The world's your oyster. You know, sleep with older women, sleep with younger women. You're fucking filled out. You're full grown man, and you've got the knowledge of yourself 10 years older as well. I think that's a sweet spot. About 30. Yeah, I'll take that.
Like, what I think about the age of 30 is you kind of know who you are, aren't you? Sort of. You
Not really, I
During
think
your
I've
20s, you make a lot of mistakes and stuff like that.
Well,
Whereas
but-
you get to sort of 30, you kind of know who you are. You develop more as a person. You know what music you like. You know what opinions you've got. You're not afraid to express them. So I think that sort of side is good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your personality's
Like,
pretty much shaped
yeah,
by
it's
then, isn't it?
you actually but
Maybe in your case, but in my case, I think I've grown a lot since I was 30. Some things have stayed the same, but there's a lot of things that have changed.
there's no hardship though when you're like sort of 14, 15, that sort of age, is there? You know what I mean? The biggest thing that you've got to worry about is your parents like catching you for like wagging school, or do you know what I mean? You just get done for like something stupid. It's like that's the worst thing you've got to do, and it's just you're all in sort of like your school, and you got your big sort of groups, and like girls and stuff are in abundance, and like big sort of groups, and like just things like that. Like so it's like it's kind of sort of almost like a old school social media sort of thing, like what on Facebook is to us now, and it's like having school.
Can I
I
come
we
in?
were doing crazy shit when we were 14, 15 that perhaps a lot of people probably didn't do until they were actual adults.
Yeah, true.
Because I speak to people now and they're like, you were doing that then? And
Yeah, to be fair, yeah.
I don't condone it. I think it's
Yeah, but to be fair, I've done some naughty things quite at
You
young
do some naughty
age,
things.
really.
so.
Brackets teen scene comes to mind, but so that's another conversation.
I mean,
altogether.
hang on
Go
a
on,
minute.
go on,
Because Phil's
go on.
just going on about Rackets and Teen Scene. I mean, I loved Rackets and Teen Scene. That was great. But it was nothing compared to going to the Sanctuary at Birmingham when I was in my mid-20s.
I know,
Going
I was just referring to
proper
doing
rave.
at
The fucking
LSD for
global
the first
gathering.
time.
Right, you've
No, I
got...
mean, Brackets teen scene,
that's what he was
that's
getting
the
at, yeah.
first time that I went and did LSD, so that's why I was referring to that. Just
Go on.
Yeah, I think you're just...
I didn't want to tell people about that, but thank you.
I think Phil's mainly basing his decisions based on nostalgia. That might have been the best time in his life. It wasn't necessarily the best time in mine. From a practical point of view, I just think, I don't know, 30 sounds about right.
See, I don't think it's like necessarily that it's
But-
the best time in my life or like the best sort of thing sort of happened. There's been a lot of like good experiences that have happened sort of since. But I'm in just like it's the whole sort of like how easy is your life and
Yeah.
stuff as well.
I
It's
probably
kind of
spent-
sort of like how you just no stress. You ain't got to worry about no bills, no dramas, and if you know the stuff that you know now as well, you're absolutely smashing it, and then like you are killing it.
I probably laughed more time, a greater percentage of my time when I was 15
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
than I did ever at any other point in my life. You know, I probably spent like 10 hours of the day just laughing.
Yeah, that's the point that I'm sort of getting from. That's where it's sort of,
the way we're going here is, I think, I feel like all of you to an extent are deviating off my understanding of this question, because you all seem to be basically picking on some level which part in your life you were the happiest.
well, me and Tim obviously grew up.
That's
with each
not
other, so
what
we know
I'm
how
doing.
awesome we were.
No,
That's
I'm
what
not
it's
doing that. I'm not judging it based on the happiest part of my life, because I know. So you went with fighting yourself as a 22-year-old, and which part that when you were 30-ish, you would batter the 22-year-old.
Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah.
So why would I choose the 22-year-old? You know what I mean?
No, but that's fine. But why wouldn't? You're not going to be fighting that 22-year-old version. You're going to be becoming that. So you're going to be basically whatever prime. I mean, it's Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
hang on a
yeah,
sec. Mike
no.
Tyson was an animal at 19, killing it.
Yeah,
So it really
yeah.
depends on the person physically.
you're right,
but
yeah.
it would be arguably the mental strength.
Yeah.
So it would be credible to suggest that your mental strength now is arguably the best it's ever been.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be arguable to say that brain in any of that era really is.
I think you mean.
Yeah, your brain's gonna be there. So for me, I'm still going to stick back to I'm going to say. I'm going to
womb.
No. Yeah, I was going to stick with. I'm going to stay away from womb. Or
He's going to go with two.
It's going to be.
Two
No,
months
because I'm
probably alright.
thinking.
No.
I'm pretty certain my mum was breastfeeding at about 6 months or whatever.
So you're around that time.
I'm going to
Yeah, I
go
don't
with
know
about
where this is
2.
going.
No, actually, fuck that. No, I just realised I was probably wearing nappies, and I don't know the idea with that. I don't want to know about that. So I'm going to go with anything from 4 onwards, and I'm going to go with, because at 4 onwards, before I
He
start, hang on.
started at the womb.
Hold up. 4 on. Before 4 onwards is when I want to be looking at starting school. And even though I'm not the smartest, at my age now, I would fucking kill it.
Can you remember anything
Kill it.
from when you was
I
4?
would run it mentally, and even if I weren't the biggest kid, I'd be the most dominant, because my brain would be so much superior to every other kid there. They'd be fucking eating out of my hands.
That's the age you
I'm
would shine,
taking
isn't it?
all of their
You
pocket
drop
money.
down to a
At the
4-year-old.
same time, I'll be getting the best grades. And I'll be killing it with the girls, because all everything from that.
At 4. At 4.
At 4.
Yeah, but you
It's
can't have
killing
sex.
with the birds at
What about
4.
sex?
Yeah, but
No sex.
Actually, hang on a
No
sec.
sex with
You
it.
brought up a
Sex
very
before.
good point there, because I'd have my own brain, and I ain't no fucking paedophile.
There you go.
So
There you go.
I'm gonna say, oh fuck me, you fucked it up. No, fuck that. I'm still gonna go back
No,
to 4.
you made it dark.
No. I'm going back to 4
Just be
still,
celibate.
and being well, everyone's celibate at 4, so I'll be celibate.
But you've got
And
your mind of a 40-year-old, so
I know I'm going to stay celibate until I'm 21, but when I hit 21, because
Then
of
you're
my
gonna take the piss
interior superiority for all of that period of time, and the progression I will have made, which would be astounding on a global level,
yeah.
I will be a fucking billionaire at 21, and I'll change the fucking world. I will change the world.
At 21?
I will be so far ahead, and I will have killed it so much. I'll be fucking coming up with theories, and also, hang on.
Teddy rocks up in 1998, and there's these people going, right, so tell us about this cryptocurrency. How does it work?
Fucking, he's gonna go back in time. He's gonna go back in time and invent Amazon.
It's a
isn't he, and
really
shit?
good idea. Yeah, Amazon, man, it's going to be brilliant. You can shop. How does it work?
Oh my god,
I don't
stop that
know.
shit. I'll be the first motherfucker to do a podcast.
Yeah.
About that shit. Because fuck
Okay,
Joe
yeah,
Rogan.
you could do like Charlie bit my finger.
That's
couldn't
quite
you?
good.
That's
See,
like
there's
the-
different. There's way to do something.
Depends on how you're looking at this question.
Yeah, but you can't do that at 4. You have to be
You
what?
can't do that.
Right.
So
Okay,
the-
21
As soon
maybe.
as the
21.
internet come along,
This
then
is
I
the
could
thing.
have
It's
done
a
it.
very simple sort of question, but can be with complex
Go on,
answers,
go for it.
isn't it? Really, like there's different sort of variables.
Depends on which way you're looking at the question.
Like,
Definitely.
what if you mixed it up then? So what if you did lose, so you went back to what you knew back then, like, do you know what I mean? So would you go back to a 14-year-old but no being dumb again?
Oh,
do you know
that
what I mean?
changes the question a bit.
Yeah. So how would that change sort of things?
That changes the question.
I think I'll get back to. I think it was 2012, and Aurora Borealis won the Grand National at 80-1. Put a lot of money on
Yeah, but you're on about. Yeah, but that's on the basis of knowing what you know.
But then what
You're
about
like-
this?
Or
then?
you're going back in time.
You're not
as
Back to
well.
the Future.
Yeah, I'm not about going back in time. I'm
But-
about something like in today's
Yeah, he's like running the world there, apparently.
Yeah, right. When I was a kid, like girls and that, like remember like the fashion they used to have with the hair and that. They used to have like the big sort of like curly things here and the big McDonald's like things on the front and stuff. And
What, the
like,
fringe.
Like,
Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
fringe.
it's just like
I
horrendous.
remember
When it,
that.
like Whereas like now, like people like you got Primani and stuff like that. Like people like just dress well, like they know how to like look good and that. Like whereas like the fashion and stuff like back in the day.
Yeah, but back then we thought we did look good.
But if I was like 15, like now compared to like I'd be like buzzing with life.
Would you be 15 now in today's present time?
Yeah.
Well,
over
yeah,
over
I do.
15,
I do.
15 in the
Hang on.
90s.
I'll tell you one thing.
Go on, you can, sorry.
Yeah,
Go
I
on,
think
go on.
one thing the youngsters have got over us today. Like I wish we had the internet back when I was a teenager. That would have changed my life completely.
Including all the stuff that
completely
goes with
changed
it,
my life.
social media and all of that.
Yeah, of course.
But the thing is, it
TikTok,
changed all our
YouTube,
lives anyway.
Facebook,
Yeah.
WhatsApp.
Why are you bringing these up? What's
It
the
doesn't
problem?
matter when
What
it
is the
came
problem
in.
with these?
Oh, I just some would argue that maybe they wouldn't, because I don't know. I don't think I would want. I don't know if I would want to grow up with that
Why?
personally.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah,
Tim,
but
like,
why-
we're both saying about
It's
it.
It's
Why
a
not?
horrible place sometimes, isn't it? Don't you think?
It is, but then but there's an off switch,
And I
isn't
think
there?
it would be even worse for a kid.
Yeah, but there's an on switch and an off switch. If you don't want to
Yeah, and it's
get
permanently
affected by
on.
that, you can just switch it off.
Yeah, I may have that self-control now, but I certainly didn't when I was 15.
Okay, well, yeah.
Like we both said, like go back to like the age of sort of 14 and like their real experiences and things would be like had all those experiences because we was out together with our friends.
Yeah, because
just
you imagine
enjoying
that shit
ourselves,
being
like,
captured
it's
on
like-
video now.
Like we wouldn't have it now if we had Google. Do you know what I mean? Like, so we'd all be at home, like playing like on our internet games and stuff like that. Like, do you know what I mean? Just like what they do now. Like so, like if you ask the same question to us if we lived in this like modern world in 10 years' time, we probably wouldn't be going like 14. We're like that's the shittest time of our life. Like, do you know what I mean? Because that's the time that we didn't interact or engage with. Like it's very different, isn't it? It's like you just said a minute ago, like going into like the different like. What genre like or what sort of like age as in like with the 80s or 60s and stuff like that. It's kind of like I'm glad that I lived in that sort of like time with not having the internet or even mobile phones and stuff. Like we used to contact each other by having like a calling code, didn't we? Like, do you know what I mean?
Used to walk for about 20 minutes,
numbers and stuff.
knock on someone's door,
So
and they weren't in.
Are we going to segue? Okay, so are we going to segue into different ages now then, or what?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so what? We're going to go around the table and say which age would you like to live in?
Are we on about era again?
Yeah, era.
So so we're going to go with if you could go back and what era, any time in history. Could you? Are we going back forever? Or are we going back for a period?
Well, where are you going to go
of time?
to?
Not for a holiday, yeah, forever.
Yeah. I just want to
would
go
you
to
want-
the Jurassic
what era
period.
would you like
I'm
to
going to be
live in?
hanging around with
What
druids,
era would you like to live in?
Okay.
building stone circles.
Well, at the age I am now, so I'll go back to 1960s, but as a 40-year-old.
That's irrelevant.
Yeah, it's irrelevant. You're born in that era and you live your whole life in that era.
Fair enough, that's fine.
I've
Let's go with that question.
got
Let's
an
go with
easy
that
one for
question.
this. I've got an easy one.
You
I
go,
would
I'm
probably
going
want
to
to be
think for a second
born
on this.
about 5-6 years before I was. So I was born in 81. I'd like to have been born maybe like mid-70s, 76 perhaps. So I could have enjoyed a little bit more of the 80s. Because like 80s were fucking class. I lived all through the 80s. Like, especially like with music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, and I just wish I was slightly a little bit older to experience that a little bit more. And that's the upset. I'm glad I am where I am. Like, just the advances of like how certain things have happened in my lifetime, but it's not like too far gone. Like, do you know what I mean? There's still like a slight little bit of innocent sort of like life and that. Whereas like now it's not. So yeah, that's the easy one for me.
Tim, you look like you've got something on your mind.
Yeah, on the back of what you're saying, really, I think I would probably actually just want to be born about the same time. I always like the idea of being a teenager in the 60s.
Oh,
You know?
bloody hell. Yeah, that would have
Oh,
been
that
wild.
was the one area I was thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, and that's partly influenced by like the music that I like, Beatles,
Good
and
music
stuff,
in the
stuff
60s,
like
yeah.
yeah, exactly. And
It's
it
got
was-
an introduction of
kinda
drugs,
seemed
all
a
that
bit-
shit, yeah, LSD.
But then I also think because it isn't just time then, right? Because is it growing up in the 60s in California, right?
Yeah.
Versus growing up in the 60s in Woodrow Redditch. It's probably a very different experience.
Growing in the
right?
60s in Vietnam.
Yeah.
I mean, it varies
Yeah.
significantly.
So let's assume it's in the same
It's
place.
going to get a bit hot.
Yeah.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
and 60s.
I kind of like, I kind of like the idea of it. Sort of what he said, there are certain technologies that we have in our life now, which I do generally like the
That
idea
trumpet,
of, and I
yeah.
do like using, and the internet and Google and information at your fingertips. Some of those things are great, but at the same time, for what I said earlier, I don't know if I would have wanted some of that stuff when I was a kid. I'm kind of glad that Facebook didn't exist when I was a kid. I like the idea that people didn't film some of the shit that I did, and that it's on that permanent fucking record somewhere. I like the idea that shit doesn't exist. It's a good balance because that stuff didn't come in until I was into my 20s, but I was still young enough to get into it and appreciate it.
So for you then, Tim.
Golden age.
Sorry to.
That's it.
No, you carry on.
So yeah, to summarise then, Tim, the era that you've lived is the best one for you then, yeah. But you wouldn't mind having a holiday in the 60s, so.
Yeah, I'd take a cheeky
Right,
week or
okay,
two.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Rich, are you ready to go, or do you want me to say my piece?
You go.
Right, okay. Because what initially attracted me to this question, because obviously I thought it was about different eras in history, was that it reminded me of this TV show that I once watched on Netflix. I think it's called Timeless or something. And in it, you've got like a team of people, and they can travel back through time and stuff like that. And the captain of this group of people is a black guy. And there's this one occasion when they were going to go back in time, and he was freaking out. That guy was freaking out because I'll go back to that era. Fuck that. You know, I'm black. So for a start, the people around won't accept me being the captain. So that's number one. Number two, you know, the black people were oppressed in that particular part of the world at that particular time. Why am I going back to that time? And it was really interesting to look at history through that lens. And I kind of agree with that guy. I look at history. I'm a big fan of history, and I look at history and I think there is no why I would want to go back to any other era and time other than this one. To be fair, not even fucking. Well, okay, let's say 100 years ago, but just like things like sanitation and stuff like that. I mean, like the sewage system that we've got now, we take that for granted. 150 years ago, that didn't exist. So people were just shitting in the street and stuff like that.
Well, the plague and that's
yeah,
not our
exactly.
sort of problem.
Yeah, well, people just shitting in the street. The water was contaminated. It's like I think I was saying this to Richard a couple of weeks ago that like in the late 1800s, I think in London, everybody was pissed in London all the time. So all they drank was gin because the water was so contaminated they couldn't drink it. So everybody just drank gin. You could get a couple of glass of gin for a penny. So everybody in London was pissed. Working class. That's working class. That is. I want to go back to that fucking era. It's fucking horrific. I mean, people just throwing their shit on the street because there's no sewage. Fuck that. I'm quite happy. I think this. I hear what you're saying, Tim. I like this era. I like the 60s as well. Wouldn't mind having a holiday in the 60s. You know, I don't know, watching Jimi Hendrix play at fucking Woodstock.
Nice.
I'd like to visit it for a night, but if I had to live in a different era, I'd have to choose this one. I couldn't do it. It'd have to be this one, or maybe slightly forward from this one, like not the one that I lived in, but maybe instead of being born in 1979, maybe being born in 1985. But then I'd miss out on stuff like He-Man and Transformers and stuff like that, which I love. So it's a fucking tough question. The perfect for me is to be in the era that I lived in, but with the internet. If I had the internet, happy days for me. So that's my
Sorry,
answer.
just to get in there, have you seen He-Man done by Kevin Smith?
Yeah, I think it's shit.
Have you watched it?
Shit.
He-Man's
in it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, to be fair, he's not in it that much, but...
They killed him off twice. What the fuck?
Yeah, true.
Let me
Well, I thought it was
that.
quite good on there. They did over attempts and it was shit, but I thought it weren't too bad.
Yeah.
I've got a
Come on then.
here because I did find that quite interesting what you said there. So being a white person, I didn't think about it. I didn't actually think about the race element here.
Perspective.
But there was also So this is the thing with this question. It really depends how you look at it. But there was a few things here, like with the race one going back to a certain era. That for me, being the way I am politically, there was also a positive, and I was trying to put myself as I did myself as a white person in my head while you were speaking, and then as a black person. And as a white person, I'm going to put that one for a second. It leads still to I'm still going to go with right now. I'm going to stick with kind of where you are on this. It's actually, I like the idea of the internet from when I'm born, and I am somewhat envious of like my Lainey, and even though some of them flourish of it, some of them, because I push my daughter constantly. I say, you're in a unique situation here. You've got a fucking podcast studio in your fucking garage. It's not great, you know, but you got a fucking opportunity there. Like you're saying, you go on there, do what you want to do. It might work out, it might not. Chances are you're going to make nothing, but why not give it a shot? You got a chance. You and your mates come in here. I'll help you edit. I'll help you. You might get lucky. You know, you only get these opportunities. It's a little one, but you know, have some fun. Worst can happen. But anyhow, the internet is fucking amazing. It is by far the best thing that's been invented in my lifetime. By far. I can't think of anything close.
It's equivalent to like a calculator on fucking steroids, like times fucking
much more
1 billion. No,
but
but just the concept.
I think it's had the
way
same.
to easily work out.
I think
you need to know the subjects. You need to know the words to type into Google. Do you know what I mean? It's the same as just a simple calculator, but it's like it just works out things and just gets to the knowledge. It doesn't lie. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like people that like, you know, in a fact-based world, and two people still have arguments, and they've both got Google. It's like it's baffling, and it's like,
Phil,
what is going on?
In his mad hat,
It solves
he's
so many
brought out
arguments.
two massive
Evidence
features.
written on the internet is written by someone within the
Phil
field.
is one of the people that pushed me into trying to get my movies and stuff off the internet. So fair play, Phil. And also another point brought up there was the argument. It's very hard to argue with people about data now, because if Lainey says something to me, I'm 95% right on everything she asks me incidentally, because I've usually researched it myself before I tell her. And she's like, and I say, Lainey, I can't be asked to argue with you. Just check the fucking internet. And then that's the end of that conversation. We don't have to have an argument about it. Sometimes I actually learn something as well. So sometimes 5% of the time I'm wrong, and I like being wrong because you've learned something. But anyhow, going back to the other one. So I'm going to say, if I could, and I've got no knowledge, and I want to be born in any era, it'd be right now, because we've got the best that we've ever had in history. Communities are fucked. Marriage is fucked. Loads of teenage pregnancies, don't know their dads, and all that kind of shit. That's all fucked right now. So you could argue there's more depression right now.
See, I think it's a tipping point.
However, I'm still going to choose this era because I think there's still there's more things I like about it than if I could choose any other era. So I'm going to stick with this era. But weirdly, I was thinking in my head, because like the way I am politically, I actually like the idea of going back to the 60s as a black man. And I'm sorry.
Not in Mississippi.
As
long as it's not in Mississippi.
I'll give you my reasons.
I want to hear this out.
A lot of my heroes are from the 60s. And I was thinking in my head, and I was thinking, a lot of them are. Che Guevara's from that era. Malcolm X is from that era. Martin Luther King's from that era.
John
Lennon's from that era. But also the Black Panthers and Fred Hampton. The Judas and the Black Panthers. Quality movie, by the way.
Is that again? Judas?
Judas and the Black Panthers.
What movie is that?
It's about Fred Hampton. He was and can I don't want to go too much off the subject.
Oh, okay.
Fred Hampton was also one that he was trying to get. He was fighting for black people, but he also wanted to unite the black militant groups. Not militant, we call them militant, but black social improvement groups, whatever you want to call them, with all the white groups, and he was actually linking up with all of the...
Was he black dude? Fred
Hampton? The whites from the south and ones that were racist. He was linking up with them because he actually said, no, we need to get all of the working class together. He got killed in the end.
Have you ever
got
heard
assassinated. But forget that.
Yeah.
I also like the idea of being in that movement as a white or black, but I also, for some reason, I quite like that movement from the black perspective, because it's better than from the perspective. I don't want to go too political here, but they were fighting for something that fucking needed to be fighted for. And even though we have racism now, it's not quite the same level as what somebody like Fred Hampton or Malcolm X. I mean, these were fighting for basic human rights, to be something on level with white people. But whereas Black Lives Matter, it's footballers taking the knee. I'm going to be more support these movements, but
let's move on from that, because this is like
But yeah, I actually quite like the idea of going back into that movement, because you had all the communist movement, you had where socialism and communism were becoming that powerful to the point where even America were starting wars purely over to fight communism. It's just from a nostalgic,
you love
political,
as well, don't you? Just
sympathetic.
You want to get involved, did you?
Let's leave it at that. I'm sympathetic to it. But going, and also so I'm going to stick
to
with
a bit of democratic socialism myself.
If I can go back to an era and it's not with the brain I have now, fuck that, because my brain's pretty fucking amazing. I'm amazed by my brain. By a freak of nature, I got the brain I've got right now. Freak of nature, nobody else has done.
It's definitely a freak of nature.
It's a freak of nature.
It's unnatural, if anything.
It is
unnatural
level of no self-awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah, humility.
But anyhow, that's where I feel like I'm finished on that. I listen to you like talking. I feel like you've all got.
Yeah, so we wind this up then because
Yeah,
it's been
should we
a good
wind
half
this up
hour
then?
now.
Yeah, so I
quite a short
still
one,
stand by like
I think we're all
14.
pretty much getting like same age, aren't we? Pretty
Yeah,
much?
same age with us, like decades sort of wise, isn't it? Age-wise, in terms of going back being at that age, not having your memory of now, I'd be like 14, 15, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll go back to about 14, 15. I think if I was going to get born in a time, as we said earlier,
Good
you know,
times.
I'd get born in 1981 again. You know, take a cheeky holidays to the 60s.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to go with what I said. I'm going to stick with this era.
Simon, what's yours
Just
then?
This era, I think, I don't know, this
So-
era, but with if I could have the internet, this era. Oh, yeah, that's it, yeah. I don't know.
I'm going with you.
Sorry, I was
this
looking
era.
at my phone when you answered me
you,
that.
Okay.
you never know.
It's on the
They
internet.
do say life begins at 40,
Yeah.
don't they? And
We'll
you never
figure
know.
out what to
We
label
might be
this later.
thinking, shit, man, I'm so glad that when we're 79, this is the best time ever.
Yeah.
So we don't know, do we?
Sweet. Okay.
It's, okay.
So from the Shepherds, bye. Subscribe.